About a month ago, I decided to actually start looking into maybe getting into a little bit of home automation, and it seemed like smart lighting was kind of the good entry point into doing that. So having heard a lot about the Philips Hue system, I thought, okay, I'm going to look into that. But about 20 minutes later on Google, I ended up finding myself leaning more in another direction, and that was the direction of the LIFX bulb. And you know what? I'm glad that I found this guy. Hello everybody and welcome to Tech Uploaded. I am Chris as always, and yes, home automation. Finally trying to get into that a little bit, with the smartphone, and now I've got an Echo Dot and I can do all kinds of different stuff, and I thought I want to get my family room lighting redone. I'm going to add a lamp, I'm going to kind of change things up. So while I'm doing that, why not change out the lights themselves? Like I said in the intro, I was originally set on the Philips Hue, but then I ended up going with the LIFX bulb after seeing so many people rave about how great this was and how much more accurate it reproduced colors. So the best way to kind of get an idea about this bulb and kind of the features of this thing is really just to take a look at the box, because it tells you all you need to know. So straight away you can see the box is very colorful, and that is done for a reason. This is the Color 1000 variant of this bulb. You can actually get this bulb. There's one that's coming out that I think actually has infrared technology built in. Then there's the Color 1000, which is what I have. And then I have a simpler version of the bulb that actually just has different scales on the white balance scale. So you can kind of set your colors for warm or cold or however you like it. But in this case, we're looking at the Color 1000. So moving on further down the box, you can see that it is at 1055 lumens. It can produce millions of colors and variants of white. About $1.32 a year is their estimated cost. It does work with the Nest, and it is a 75 watt equivalent. Spinning around to the back, you can see some of the other features of this thing, most of them already on the front, but the big one is right here. No hub required, and that is a huge selling point for this bulb for me, because I don't have to set something up on my home network to actually use this thing. Each bulb is independent of itself. Each bulb basically connects to your Wi-Fi network as its own separate entity, and then you add them as a group later in the app. So let's take a look at the bulb itself. Getting into the packaging is super simple. You just open up the flap at the bottom, and then actually, thankfully, I wish more people would do this, give you an area to grab on the side to slide out the cardboard box itself. Once you get that out, you're presented with a picture of the bulb drawn on the front of the cardboard, and then it says install, download, and enjoy. When you flip open the box, you pretty much just have the bulb right there. And at first glance, boy, this thing is interesting looking. You can see it does say Color 1000 on the front. Has a standard little Edison screw down here in the version that I got, so you can plug this into pretty much any lamp, at least here in the US. And then it has the little dome here on the top, and this is where the light is actually going to come out. And I was a little concerned about this at first because I thought, wow, that's not a whole lot of area. Is this going to be able to actually put out a decent enough amount of light? And yes, it does. This is plenty. It actually does a very good job. It also feels very substantial in the hand. You can tell there's a lot of technology going on in the bottom half of this bulb in order to make this thing actually work. And it just feels substantial, and that's pleasing. And for anywhere from, I've seen these things ranging between Amazon and the LIFX site themselves, depending on how many you buy at one time, from I want to say like 35 up to, I think when they originally came out, they were around $80. So it feels like a bulb that you made an investment. And that's a good thing, because these are an investment. And for the price, they better last a darn long time. But at being an LED bulb, that's really not too much of a concern. So now we've got the bulbs, we've got them screwed in. How did the setup process go? Well, unfortunately, that's where things got a little bit difficult with this particular product. I was trying to install these using an Android phone. I quickly learned that that is not the best route to go. Apparently, if you're using iOS, things go a lot smoother, but with Android, I had a little bit of an issue. Now, try as I might, I was not able to get these things to sync to my wireless network. So I did a little more research, and I found out that if you're using an Android phone, you have to restart the phone pretty much after you sync each bulb if it's not working, and you need to connect to the 2.4 gigahertz network on your router, not the 5 gigahertz network, which is the one that I usually use. Now, thankfully, I do have 2 SSIDs set up in the house because some of my older stuff does like that older network technology, but I had to switch over to that to actually do the pairing for all of the bulbs, and then once I was done, I could go back to my 5 gigahertz network. But Having to do that was a challenge, and I had to go through the whole thing again when I set up my 4th bulb in the bedroom. So the setup process for this, on Android at least, using a Samsung Galaxy S7, was not the smoothest thing in the world, and definitely not something I would recommend for someone that's not on the more technically inclined side of things. Now, I can't speak for how this goes in iOS, but it seems like from what I was reading, it does go a little bit smoother. However, once you get all the bulbs installed, that's where things get a lot of fun. So you get the bulbs in the app, and then you actually group those bulbs into a particular set. So I've got one set up for family room and one set up for my master bedroom. And I've got 3 bulbs in the family room, 1 in the master. So when you open up the app, you can see you do have the option to turn all of the bulbs on or off just by tapping on the group. You can also turn each bulb on and off individually. And then when you actually click on one of the bulbs, you're brought into a menu with quite a few more options. You can cycle through the colors, which are very accurate, and really the camera doesn't do it justice. And you can also go over to the white balance and set that from really warm to really, really cool. And I found that setting it on neutral, right in the center, seems to be pretty close to a standard incandescent. You also have the ability to fade these bulbs by just scrolling up and down in the middle of the color wheel. And you even have the option to jump over to these little special effects, and you can go in and set things that are kind of crazy even, like strobe light, or you can set it to flicker like a candle or do all kinds of other different things. And you have a themes section as well. So you can do everything from energizing to something that's a little bit more relaxing. There's even a Halloween theme in here. So apparently this is a festive app. I expect to see something for the holiday season very soon pop up in here. And I have to say, controlling the app was a joy. Everything was very responsive. I hadn't had any bulbs drop off the network. That was one of the things I saw in some of the other comments, was these bulbs keep dropping off the network. And I was really concerned about that given how difficult it was to get them synced up in the first place. But after about 2 weeks of use, I haven't had any issues with that whatsoever. And the app is very responsive. I was even at someone else's house, hit the button to turn on the bulbs, and they turned on and were on when I got home. You can also set schedules for these bad boys so that they turn on at sunset, or you can have it do various things with the IFT app if you should choose to do that, and have it say dim to blue or cyan when it's going to rain, or change colors when you get a notification, or do all kinds of different stuff. And it also works beautifully with the Echo Dot, and I tried mine out with that. Voice commands are nice and simple. Things like turn the lights on and off work straight through the app, as well as being able to dim the lights to a certain brightness. And then if you want to change color or do something a little bit more exotic, then you can actually use the IFT app to set up commands that you basically set the phrase you want to use, and then you set what you want the bulbs to do. And the options for these things in that app, it's just kind of staggering how much you can actually do with these bulbs. You could really get creative. So after a few weeks with these things, how do I feel about it? Are they worth it? Yeah, if you want to geek out and you want to play with some home automation and do some fun stuff, they are worth it. Like I said, if you go on their website and you look, you can buy them in packs, multiple packs. I think you can get these in like a 4-pack, and the can light versions of these, I think you can even get up to like a 6-pack. So pricing varies based on if you just want the one that does different shades of white, or you want the ones that do full color, but they're not a cheap investment to kind of get into. However, like I said earlier, that's what they are. They are an investment. And if you really want to be able to kind of have a different profile that you set for different times of day, or you want to have a profile set for, say, watching movies or playing video games where the lights are dimmer and a little bit easier on the eyes, this is the way to do it. I've had no issues controlling it with my Echo Dot. I've had no issues controlling it once it was set up with my Android phone. And overall, I found these things to just really be a joy to play with and a lot of fun if you enjoy geeking out on that kind of thing. And even better, the color reproduction on these is fantastic. They're able to achieve green, which apparently is a color that is rather difficult to do, and these do it spot on. One thing to keep in mind, depending on the color that you are actually outputting, the amount of lumens that you're going to get is going to vary, because it's going to activate more of the white LEDs as you kind of go up and down that color wheel as far as how intense you want it to be. So for example, if you want a really deep blue, it's not going to be nearly as bright as if you had the blue kind of more of a whitish blue, if that makes any sense. So would I recommend these things? Heck yeah. And I'll actually put a link down below to the website for the LIFX bulbs. I think the sale is still going on. I'm not sure, depending on when you watch this, it may already be over. The pricing could be even lower since, like I said, they do have a new bulb in the works. They also sell stuff, I believe, like LED strips and things like that. But I've been really impressed. Whenever you can have something where the software and the hardware actually do work together as advertised, that's a win, especially in kind of a newer technology space like home automation. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Check out some of my other videos, give it a like, do your thing. And you can also follow me on the various social media networks like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as Tech Uploaded. And you can also shoot me an email at techuploaded@gmail.com. And you know the drill. Don't be a stranger. Check back soon.